الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
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 أشهد أن محمدا رسول 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 الله.
حي على الصلاة.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم.
حي على الصلاة.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الفلاح.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الفلاح.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. صلى الله عليه وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله. أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank the Almighty Allah for giving us an opportunity to be here. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah. We also bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and His messenger. Today is a Friday, I believe the 22nd day of Shawwal, 1444 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That also corresponds with the 12th day of May 2023. It's been almost 22 days after the month of Ramadan. But we want to use this opportunity to reiterate the fact that the Almighty Allah is the God in the month of Ramadan and also the God outside the month of Ramadan. In as much as the atmosphere in Ramadan is on a different level, but then we must still continue to serve the Almighty Allah to our best of our abilities. I think yesterday or a day before yesterday, I saw a video of, the rescue work that was done during the earthquake in Turkey. And this video has kept me thinking for the past couple of days and I want to share with you, my thoughts. As they were, helping to pull out survivors, they got to a dead body of a man, and he was, lying face down. So they were able to collect the dirt around him. When they pulled him out, there was a boy alive under him. The question I asked myself is, what is so important about the boy that the man was willing to lay down his life to protect this boy? Why didn't he find a way of saving himself? But then he put his life on the line to put his back there for all those boulders and all those concrete slabs to fall on his back, to break his back, kill him. But then the boy must be alive. In life, how willing are we to put our lives on the line for others? This is a question we all need to ask ourselves. How willing are we to go to the end of the world for other people? Not for any personal gains. Not for anything that I'm going to gain. It's a question all of us must ask ourselves. In a time of individualism, in the time of materialism, this act of selflessness, this act of sacrifice, this act of putting other people's needs before our needs, our personal needs, is an epitome of Islam. On the day that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going to migrate from Mecca to Medina, he called his cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said to him, "Atanamu fi firash al-yawma ya Ali? Ali, are you going to sleep in my bed today?" Ali knew very well that anybody who sleeps on that bed that night is a dead body. Because Abu Jahl and his thugs have sworn that that night they're going to kill the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He looked for able-bodied young men in Mecca and gave each and every one of them a fresh sword. And the idea was that we are going to go and strike him all together at once. Because the idea was, let's kill Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And other people were like, if one person from one tribe kills Muhammad, the Quraysh or Banu Abdul Muttalib will rise up to fight that tribe. So let's all of us, all the other tribes, kill Muhammad, then Quraysh alone cannot stand us. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, sleep in my bed today. And Ali knew definitely that anybody who sleeps on that bed, dead body. And how old do you think Ali was at that time? He was between 19 and 20 years. He said, Nafsi laka al-fida, ya Rasulallah. He said, Ya Rasulallah, I will sacrifice my life for you. I'll use my life to sacrifice, to give. I'll give out my life so that you survive. Ali ibn Abi Talib was ready to die for the most beloved person he's ever met. Ali ibn Abi Talib was ready to die for the cause that he believes in. He believes in a cause. He believes in an ideology. He believes in a philosophy. Yes, it's the place. It's there. He believes in that ideology. He believes in that movement that if the Prophet Muhammad was going to be killed that day, then that is the end of Islam. And a 19-year-old boy really understood that for this movement to survive, I must die, then I'm willing to die. After the Prophet Muhammad was able to escape with Abu Bakr Siddiq, now comes the turn of Abu Bakr Siddiq. As they were migrating, they were moving, Abu Bakr Siddiq will go some paces ahead of the Prophet Muhammad to check if there's anything coming from in front. And then he will move back some paces to check if there's anybody coming from behind. Abu Bakr Siddiq will go to the left, he will go to the right. But the Prophet Muhammad he was focused on the road. Abu Bakr Siddiq was like, no, I need to check the safety and the security of the Prophet Muhammad Abu Bakr Siddiq invested his money, his life, his time, even his animals were put in the machinery to help the message of Islam. His servants, his children, invested all this because he believed in a cause. He believed that this cause of Islam is what is going to illuminate humanity. They got to the entrance of the cave. Abu Bakr Siddiq said, Ya Rasulullah, stay here. Let me go and check if there are no harmful, animals or creatures in the cave. They entered the cave. Some of the narration said Abu Bakr Siddiq was stung by a snake in the cave. And the Prophet Muhammad was lying on his head, on his lap. But then he didn't want to move so as to wake the Prophet Muhammad even though he has been stung. Why are we saying all these things? We're saying this to teach us Muslims and humanity as a whole the importance of selflessness, the importance of putting other people's needs before our needs. We live in times whereby people only think about themselves. We live in times whereby one person is willing to make billions and the rest of the world should die. He doesn't care. We live in times whereby people are only grabbing what they want, but they don't care if other people have. We live in times whereby people will eat food, when the rest is there, they throw it into the trash can, whereas other people are there suffering. We live in times whereby companies can just throw away food into the trash can. And if you want to come and pick those food, they say no, it is company policy because they're going to make money out of it, they're going to make taxes out of it, and then other people are dying of hunger, sleeping on the streets. When the Prophet Muhammad migrated from Mecca to Medina, he instituted a social. Anybody from Mecca is paired with somebody from Medina to help them to just assimilate and then be a part of the community. The Prophet Muhammad picked Abdurrahman ibn Auf from Mecca, and then he paired him with Sa'd ibn Rabi' al-Ansari from Medina. Two guys, friends, brotherhood. And Sa'd ibn Rabi' al-Ansari told Abdurrahman ibn Auf, I'm the wealthiest man in Medina. Wealthiest man. I'm going to divide my. Take 50%, I take 50%. I have two wives. You are going to look at them. I am going to divorce her and then you marry her. Listen carefully. It's not that Sa'd ibn Rabi' al-Ansari is going to divorce one of the wives. No, it is Abdurrahman ibn Auf who is going to look at the two of them to choose the one that he is okay with. Let me tell you something. As for money, I can give you money. But my wife, forget about it. You ain't getting that. You ain't getting that. Even if I have 4, you ain't getting that. You're going to sleep alone. That's a fact. As for money, yes, we can part ways with money. But my wife, the love of my life, the woman who has given me all the stability and peace of mind, all because you are new in Philadelphia, you just came from overseas, you want to settle here, and I just want to help you to stay stable. I can find you a job and you can sleep in the couch in the basement. But then my wife, forget it. But then Sa'd ibn Rabi' al-Ansari was willing to put the needs of Abdurrahman ibn Auf before his needs. He is not going to give him a quarter of his money. He's not going to give him 10% of his money. He's not going to give him 5% of the money or even 1%. He is willing to give him 50% of the properties. Imagine you being here in America for the past 30 years. You've worked hard. You've amassed money. You have your own home or 2 or 3 homes. And then someone comes from overseas, and because you love him, okay, fine, I've been working for the past 30 years. I have my 401k, I have all this. I'm splitting them into half for you. I don't think we are going to do that. Mm-mm. 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 When you remember the cold of the winter and how you go and struggle, you only give him maybe a few $100 to just be on his feet. But to split that property into 2, no. But then what did we learn from Sa'd ibn Rabi al-Ansari? Sa'd was willing to help a brother stand on his feet. Sa'd was willing to put aside his needs for the need of his brother, because his brother just came into town. He doesn't know anybody. He doesn't have anywhere to go. He doesn't have any connections. He doesn't have any job. He doesn't have any means of livelihood or survival. But Sa'd is willing to put him on his feet. The act of selflessness is very, very, very important in any community that needs stability and any community that wants to develop. The act of putting your needs before mine is a recipe for peace and stability and development in our communities. The problems that we are having today of violent crime, of hate, of envy, of greed, is that people have become selfish. People think of only themselves. People do not care what happens to other people. People are only interested in amassing their wealth. People are only interested in what they will gain, and the rest of the world should die. They don't care. And this is what is eating us. Whether we are from the developed world, whether we are from the third world, wherever we find ourselves, if selfishness and envy and greed is the order of the day, then there's no hope for survival. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. This act of selflessness is state and nature. If the Sahaba didn't, sacrifice their lives and their monies and their times, do you think Islam would have come to us? If Uthman bin Affan hasn't donated all his properties for the cause of the Almighty Allah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day was asking for funds. Umar bin Khattab went to him and then he split his properties into 2 and then he brought half to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah asked him, "Mada tarakta li ahlika ya Umar?" Umar, what did you leave for your family? He said, "Ya Rasulullah, I've left for them exactly the same thing that I've brought to you." Abu Bakr Siddiq went into the house and then he cleared the house. He cleaned it. Everything in the house was gone. He brought it to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah was surprised. He's seen bowls, he's seen cups. He said, "Ya Abu Bakr, what's all this?" He said, "Ya Rasulullah, I'm bringing everything." And then Rasulullah said, "Ya Abu Bakr, what did you leave for your family?" He said, "Taraktu lahumullah wa rasulah." I've left for them only Allah and His Messenger. That's it. These people put their monies and their lives on the line. They knew very well that they're going to lose those lives. They knew very well that they're going to put, when those monies go, that's it. They knew very well. But then they believed in a cause. They believed in They've seen Islam, they've understood Islam, they knew and they know that this message is for the whole of humanity of time. So it's not going to only remain with us. It's not going to only remain in the Makkah, Medina area, Ta'if area. No, it must go out into the world. And then we are going to do that. So if you read the history of Islam, the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the time the Abbasids took over from Banu Umayyah, Islam has moved from Spain. And during the time of Umar bin Khattab, one Roman general came to Medina. He wanted to see these people that have come to conquer them. These Arabs that were there for hundreds of years and thousands of years, who didn't have and steal each other's money. Were they able to build this civilization? How? How were they so powerful to come and defeat the Persian Empire, defeat the Roman Empire all at the same time? The two most powerful empires on earth at that time were destroyed by Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So this Roman general was like, no, let me come and see. He came into Medina. He was expecting to see castles. He was expecting. He saw mud house and thatch houses. He saw just date trees. He was like, so it is from this place that all those soldiers came out from? I said, yes. I said, okay, fine. Where is your king? He said, we don't have a king. Like, I know Amir al-Mu'minin. Where is... He was like, you don't know where your leader is? You can't find him? And one of the Sahaba said, no, Amir al-Mu'minin, I just saw him. He passed here. And then they passed that place and they found Umar bin Khattab, Amir al-Mu'minin, sleeping by the roadside under a tree. And the Roman general was like, this is your leader? He said, yes. Sleep. Where are his bodyguards? And then he was told, Inna harisahu huwa Allah. And Umar he was sleeping, he heard them speaking, so he just got up and then he sat down and said, what do you guys want? They said, oh, this is a general from the Roman Empire, he has come to visit us. So he said, sit down. And the Roman general sat on the floor and he was looking at Umar bin Khattab had 70 patches. 70. If there's a cut here, he puts a patch. If there's a patch cut here, he puts a patch. One day it was time so late. Later he came out and they said, yeah, Amir al-Mu'minin, why are you late? He said, I have only one dress. It was dirty. I washed it and I left it to dry and then I hid so that when فَأَمِنْتَ فَنِمْتَ قَرِيلَ الْعَيْنِ. Say, Umar, you were just. So you had peace. That is why you are able to sleep on the street. We, the Roman bin Khattab, when there was Amul Majaa, the year that famine and drought hit the Sahaba, Umar bin Khattab was sitting and he could only eat bread and oil. And then his stomach has some beats. And then Umar would speak to himself. Say, قرقري أو لا تقرقري لن تذوقي طعم اللحم حتى يشبع أطفال المسلمين. Umar said, stomach, you can cry, you can sing, but you will never enjoy the taste of meat until the kids of the Muslims have eaten and then they are satisfied. This is the kind of leadership Umar bin Khattab gave. That as the leading class, they must. How well are we willing to put other? How well are we willing? even at our workplaces? How willing are we to put our heads down and let other people, so that other people will shine and other people will make it in life? When Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam was moving with his soldiers, حتى إذا أتوا على واد النمل قالت نملة يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم لا يحطمنكم سليمان وجنوده وهم لا. One of the smallest of creatures of the Almighty Allah got wind. She could just run away, but then she came out screaming to her people, Ya ayyuhan naml, O you community of ants, udkhulu fi masakinikum, hurry up and enter. La yahtimannakum Sulaiman wa junudu, lest Sulaiman and his soldiers trample upon you and break you and crush you, wahum la yash'urun, when they do not know that you are there. An ant was willing to sacrifice her life for her community. Let's understand one thing. Physical religion. Islam is not only about praying 5 times a day, fasting in the month of Ramadan and going to Umrah and Hajj. That's not only Islam. Islam is also about the day-to-day activities. Islam beings. Even if they are non-Muslims, Islam has taught us how to live with them, how to have relationships with them, how to have businesses with them. Islam is community. That is why part of the maqasid of the Sharia, the objectives of the Sharia is what? Hifzun nafs, the protection of life. Part of the objectives of the Sharia is hifzul mal, the protection of money and wealth. Part of the Sharia objectives is hifzul aql, the protection of the mind. Part of the objectives of the Sharia is the Sharia has come to protect the deen. These are the 5 main objectives of the Sharia. Protection of the deen, protection of lives, protection of the mind, protection of wealth, and protection of lineage. And if you observe, sometimes with the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, at night, one of them will get some money, and then he will rush to the door of his brother at night, and then he will knock the door so violently that the person, even if he's asleep, the person will wake up. And then when he hears that the person has woken up, he leaves the pouch of money and then he runs away. This brother will open his door, he will check to see if there's anybody, there's nobody. And then he looks down and then he sees a pouch. He picks it and then he opens it, he sees money. He says, Subhanallah, someone has left this money here because he thinks I need it. I think Musa needs the money more than me. So that night, he will take that money. He won't go back inside. He will go to his neighbor and then he will knock the door violently. When he hears his brother has responded, he leaves the money there. He doesn't even want to say Assalamu alaikum so that the brother will hear his voice and recognize him. So he will knock the door. When he opens this, he sees a pouch of money. He picks it up. He opens. He's like, wow, a brother thinks I need this money. I need it. But then Sufyan might need it more. That same night, he will run to the house of Sufyan and knock that door. This is what they used to do between themselves. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. They are selfless. They put other people's needs in front of theirs, even if they are in need. You know of the hadith of those 3 friends or 3 they were lying dead in the heat of the Arabian desert. And then the people who came, the rescue team came, the fire department came. And then they were going to give this guy water. From nearby saying, I need water. He said, no, my brother here need the water. Give him that water. But you are in need. He says, no, give him that water. They rushed to him to give him the water. I need water. I need water. He told them, go and give that water to him. They said, you need it? He said, no, he needs it more. They rushed to come back to the second person. By the time they got there, he was dead. They rushed to go to the first person. By the time they got there, he was dead. This is the epitome of selflessness. This is the epitome of sacrifice. This is what our religion is all about. That whatever I have belongs to you. Whatever you have belongs to me. Whenever you are in trouble, I can support you. مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد الواحد إن اشتكى. The example of the Muslims in the love that they have for each other, in the care that they have for each other, in the sympathy that they show each other is like one body. If a part of the body is in pain, the rest of the whole happens today. I don't want to see you being successful in life. This is a fact. This is how we live today. If you dress nice and fly and then you come to the masjid, that is when my blood pressure goes. A new house, that is when my chronic ulcer starts going up. Subhanallah. If you buy a new car, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This is. If you come to the masjid with a new dress, I feel like I want to bite you. But after Juma, assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, I miss you, mashallah, where have you been? Munafiki. We are living our lives on hypocrisy with each other. We are living our lives with. So now I'll hear that Mustafa, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Mustafa, he's homeless now. We told him, Mustafa is very stubborn. I told him, you should come and join us. We are the main one. He is not concerned about the welfare of Mustafa. He's not concerned about his ego. كم من صاحب يلقاك إناقا ويقسم لك بالله أنه لا يطيق لك فراقا ملك كريم لقيك بوجه أبي بكر وقلب أبي لهب. Some people meet you, يلقاك إناقا, mashallah, Shaykh, I miss you, Allahu Akbar, you look beautiful, you are shining. He says, Wallahi tallahi, you are the oxygen that I breathe. If I don't see you in the masjid, I can sit. ولكن شيطان رجيم في مخبره. But then inwardly, he's like a shaitan. When he meets you with the face of Abu Bakr, but then my brothers and sisters, finally, my message to us is, when the Almighty Allah blesses your brother with something, do not for once feel anything bad in your heart. Because the moment you have that feeling, do you know what you are saying? You are accusing Allah of injustice. Because that person who has that ni'mah, that blessing, he didn't give it to himself. It is the Almighty Allah who gave it to him. So if you see your brother having something that you want, pray to the Almighty Allah to grant him barakah in what he has, and then pray that the Almighty Allah gives you yours too. Our 5 fingers are not the same in height. But then the most important one, when you come to tying something, is the thumb. Each and every one of us here is blessed. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس اليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. الحمد لله إمام إزباع وما أنت أمرتنا بدعائك وأعتنا بالإجابة قد دعوناك كما أمرتنا فاستجب لنا كما أمرتنا يا رب العالمين. قوموا إلى صلاة.